Hi, there we are on Brunch with Brian. Good morning on Friday. It's formal dining room Fridays, as you brunchers know. So, how are you today? Hopefully everybody's doing good and ready for a great weekend. Now, Fridays I sometimes consider to be Foundation Fridays. It is actually National Salesperson Day today, which is kind of an interesting day. So is this sales? I mean, if you're in the real estate investing world, are you in sales? And that kind of scares people when you say that word sales, because a lot of people think, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want a sales job. I'm no good at sales. A lot of people think that way. But when you think about it in reality, guys, you're always selling yourself. And so everything you do, anytime you're talking to someone, you're selling them your idea, your plan, your concept. And I'll tell you what, here's the key to be a good salesperson. I want you to write this down. To be a good salesperson, you got to be a good leader. Okay, to be a good salesperson, you have to look like you're heading in a direction. Okay, write this down. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan for their house, a plan to buy their house. So in this creative financing world, the plan is laid out in the script. So when you follow the script, you're presenting your plan for them to sell their house to you. Okay, so now how well do you present that plan? How much do you seem like a confident leader as you present that plan? Do they want to follow you as you lead them in this process? So what you need is a strong plan, and then and that's again, you find that in the scripts, and then you need to present it with enthusiasm. So what actually curtails your enthusiasm? What keeps you from being Mr. and Mrs. Enthusiasm? Like that's Lynette's and my nickname. So what prevents that? Usually worries about your performance. Your stage fright. You get on the phone, you get nervous. People have phone fright, I call it. So it's not stage fright, it's phone fright. Okay, it's just like stage fright, and you feel like the spotlight's on you, and they're listening to every word you say and evaluating it, and they can tell you don't know what you're talking about or whatever. It's always there's always a sort of a skeptical viewer. Okay, there's a concept all about this where you're sort of removed from yourself, watching yourself and judging yourself. So be very careful about judging yourself in the beginning on these. If you're just making the calls, if you're just picking up the phone and making the calls, that's great. That's great in the beginning, okay? And don't be too harsh in your judgments. You're not going to be perfect on the phone in the beginning, but if you actually do your KPIs, what's my biggest KPI right now, key performance indicator? Talking to 10 sellers a week, okay? That's like 1.5 a day. And there's a lot of sellers out there. You can call FSBOs. I'm okay if you call landlords. We have that incredible landlord opening call script. And you can call off-market properties if you have any kind of software where you're finding great properties. Or you can even call realtors. And now realtors aren't technically talking to a seller, but you're going through that realtor to get to the seller. And I will tell you that we didn't call a lot of realtors a year ago. But now we're calling them like crazy. There's a lot of realtor business, and the realtors are calling us. They're calling and bringing deals to us. So remember, anytime you talk to a realtor about any property, if they say, well, yes, this seller, I understand what you're doing, but this seller would not be interested in that. Always ask, well, do you know of any other sellers or any other agents in your office who have a listing that's been languishing, that's been long days on market, that the seller may consider this? Start, thinking about it. And if you don't have anybody right now, and even if you do, put me on your phone. Could you, enter me into your phone. Just go under your contact list and go under last name, put seller financing. Okay, that's how sellers, they're going to remember you. And if you get on 20, 50, 100 agents' phones over the next year under seller financing, people are going to be calling you. Guess what? People are going to bring you good deals. Agents want to close deals, and there's going to be a lot of motivated, highly motivated sellers over this next year that would love to work with you. So again, that's why I really want you to tap in on Foundation Friday. Now, in terms of it being National Salesperson, one way that I get around that, and I don't, and sometimes people aren't I talked yesterday about roles and the different roles that you play on a closing call. And that's the thing about sales. And that's why sales is so rewarded. And, if you are in a good sales position, you can make a lot of money. And if you're good at it, but you have to be fluid in your roles. Okay, so you have to assume many roles as a salesperson. And in the beginning, it's so vital that you build that rapport. We went and bought one of these recreational vans, right? And so we walked in, and I wasn't sure. We met this guy, and his name was Skip. And, Skip, that's an okay name, but it doesn't build a lot of credibility, does it? It's more like that's a good rapport building name, but do I really want to buy this vehicle from this guy? But he had good knowledge, and he tried hard. And that was the thing, even when he didn't know stuff, at least he was in there trying hard and trying to answer our questions and trying to take care of us. And he was super friendly. And that really was the difference, I think, being super friendly. So some of you guys have that super friendly side. You're incredible at building the rapport, but then you're not so good when it comes down to the negotiating, the deal making part. You're kind of nervous, too anxious about that. So I'm telling you, if you're great at building rapport, on the other parts, just be a good presenter. Just now, the different roles that you can take on in a sales position, you can be a strong leader. Write these 4 down, because these are sort of like 4 choices. You can be any one of these, and a really good salesperson is often all 4 of these at different times in a day, depending on the buyer's needs. So when you're talking to a seller, you can be a strong leader on the phone. So you're just, I know certain people, when they get on the phone, it's my way or the highway. This is how it is. Do you want it or not? And so sometimes that works with some people. Okay, so strong leader role is one role. Lynette likes, what do you think, deal maker role. So when it comes down to the negotiating, she'll spend a very short period of time in friendly neighbor me. That's the rapport building role that you need to play in sales. I call it friendly neighbor me in real estate, because you're their neighbor, you live in the area, you're helping them out with their house deal. Friendly neighbor me. So you start off like that. No, you actually start off in what I call business me, because you have to establish credibility. Now, Skip didn't do such a great job at that. He was just overly friendly, like a big golden retriever dog. Okay, you don't want a golden retriever. And look, he got the sale. So a golden retriever will wear you down with niceness and stuff, even if they're not the brightest dog. Oh, I'm not saying anything about golden retrievers, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that certain dogs are super smart. And and that's how they approach everything. And people are the same. Some people are super thinker brains, and they approach everything by how smart can I do this. So now, if you're that way, I want you to think about this other role of being a strong. We got strong leader, we got deal maker. That's what Lynette likes. And then we've got what I like, which is what I call good shepherd. Okay, good shepherd. Sometimes, especially if you're talking to a seller who is, needs a lot of guidance. Maybe an elderly person who's never really done much with real estate. This is their only house they've ever owned. They're going to need a lot of guidance, so you have to be a good shepherd and guide them through this process. Okay, so those are, and then the last one is confident presenter. Let me put it that way, confident presenter. So write those 4 roles down. You should try to get good at all of those roles, but you probably have a tendency towards one, which is the way you like to sort of handle your closing calls. So if you get a buyer that matches up, now listen, if you're going to be good shepherd, if that's your favorite thing, if you're a pastor down at your church, if you're a counselor or something like that, and you really have that natural tendency to want to help others and guide them, and that's great. Being that good shepherd, but not everybody's a sheep. So not every buyer is going to want to be guided that way. So if you're talking to another investor and you try to go into good shepherd mode, and say, well, we're going to get through this process. It's going to be awesome. We're going to take care of everything. So what? Just tell me how much you're going to offer me and let's get to the point. So sometimes you'll get, you have to play the right role depending on the way the buyer thinks. the role that the buyer is in. Now, maybe the buyer is a very skeptical seller. Okay, so then you have to take more time in that business me of establishing credibility. You have to say your real estate bio. You know, that's a big part of this whole process is you're saying your bio. And so just think when, you know, since it's National Salesperson Day, I just want you to think of the different kind of roles you can play on as a salesperson, you know, and that's why salespeople are rewarded, because they are good at playing many different roles. And it always starts, there's always a phase. I don't care what sales, I don't care if you're buying a car or buying a house or what you're doing, or buying a computer down at Best Buy. There's always these steps of the sales process where there's a point where you establish credibility, like, okay, I think you know what you're talking about. And that should be right away. And that should be just in the handshake and the smile and the way you carry yourself or the way you speak on the phone. Some of that just comes automatic if you handle yourself right. And that's established credibility. That's the business me. Then you're going to roll into friendly neighbor me. Lynette will roll right past that sometimes if we're making a lot of calls like at an event. But I want you to, my shortest one is me and my wife and my sons buy and sell houses all around the area. Okay, so that's my quickest bio I can do if I know people are in a rush, but it gives them an idea of who I am in a good way, in a positive way, puts me in a positive light. And so I want you to always build rapport, always get your bio in that part. Then after you've done those two things, you've established credibility and built rapport, and during the rapport building phase, you're looking for hot buttons. Why are they selling? The questions you're asking there are, so can I ask why you're selling? Do you guys know where you're moving to? You know, so while you're being all friendly and neighborly, you're really finding out their hot buttons and what's the story of this deal. Then it's time to get into your one of four choices. Lynette goes right into deal maker. Okay, let me tell you how we can buy your house. And she'll do the quick explanation, get to the 4 deal points, and set the appointment. Okay, some of you guys are going to be more good shepherd. You're going to go more slowly through it, or you're going to be one of the other roles. You're going to be a strong leader, which means you're just going to go to the script and boom, boom, boom. And, you know, if they object or anything, you just say, yep, that's right. And then you keep going, you know, strong leader. And then the other one is confident presenter. So for confident presenter, just learn the script. Just practice the script a bunch. Everybody should just be able to fall back on that I know the script well enough that I can present it. This is like a little 5-minute presentation or 10-minute presentation. And, you know, pretend that you have to practice up like you're giving a speech. Pretend this is going to be on stage in front of 100 people, your next phone call, and you want to do a good presentation. Okay, well, what would you do? You're going to have the script right in front of you. You can read from the script, but you would certainly practice it, you know, and you don't have to look up. That's the other thing. You know, I mean, you can just sit there and read word for word. In these presentations, you don't have to look up at the audience. You know, this isn't a visual, this isn't a video chat. So you can read the script verbatim, and that's what I want you to do. But again, use your sales techniques that we talked about in the different roles to close the deal. And then at the end of the call, you're going to kind of go back maybe to your business me and say, okay, that's great. Well, you know, we have an office over on, you know, McKellips, but we'll be driving over tomorrow at noon or whatever. You go into a little more business me, and then of course always end with friendly neighbor me and signing off with enthusiasm. So we're so excited about this. It's going to work out great for you guys. It's going to work out good for us. So I can't wait to meet you. So we'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So doesn't that sound great? Okay, so doesn't that sound great is one of my favorite lines. So a lot of stuff about sales today, a lot of ways to think about it and approach it. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not really a salesperson, I don't know how to approach it. Well, now you have some different roles, some ways to think about what your posture is on these closing calls. Even if, and you don't have to be all salesy. You don't have to be Joe salesy car salesman. You can take all these different roles and you're just helping that customer. Okay, so I am a great salesperson. Let's say that. Okay, that's our affirmation for today. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I am a great salesperson. I am a great salesperson. I am a great salesperson. Yes. All right. Deep breath. Nice deep breath in. Big smile. Another one. I am a fit human being. I am fit. I am super fit. I am a super fit soldier. Remember, that was my affirmation when I lost 50 pounds in 50 weeks. I kept saying, I am a super fit soldier. I don't use it so much anymore because I'm, where I want to be pretty much. So another deep breath in. Big smile. Oh, look who's here. Big Willow. My baby, my cute baby, my big girl. She's so tall, she can actually stick her head up here so you can see her. Isn't she sweet? All right, so great, guys. I usually try to keep these 10 minutes. I don't know why I went so long today and yesterday, but I love you guys. I just want you to have all this great information and be successful. So use what we talked about today about closing calls and being a great salesperson tomorrow on your deal meetings, and tonight on your closing calls. I always think of Friday as Foundation Friday, and we try to have calls going out on Friday to set up deal meetings for Saturday, because Saturday is deal meeting Saturday. So let's see all at deal meetings. Let us know all the great deals you're closing. Keep us up to date and ask us any questions. You can always reach us at 888-RICH-NOW. And don't forget, our incredible pre-funded property event is coming up next month. All right, so guys, have an awesome weekend. Be a successful salesperson over this weekend. Until I see you on Monday, expecting success.